Now here's one that I haven't done before, Microcenter. And this is one that I'm really jealous of because here in South Africa we don't have anything up to this level. But with that said, I do have to say that the website has been a little bit underwhelming, to be honest. It's a little bit cluttered and confusing. But regards to getting good deals and getting some good prices, some good specials, it's definitely up there. So getting straight into it, I'm doing another sort of prospective build where I put together what I would do for a PC if I were building it. And today we are doing a $1,000 sort of a gaming mid-spec PC. Now, when I say mid-spec, I don't mean the sort of mid-spec that I usually talk about. This is more of a actual mid-spec where this PC will run 4K games at 80 plus frames. But when I say mid-spec, I just mean it's not the top-end hardware, but in terms of what you need as a consumer, this is going to be fantastic stuff. It's going to be up there with some of the best gaming experiences. Now, the high-end experience with gaming is, 144 hertz 4K sort of setups with massive screens and stuff, but that's just not a reasonable thing for normal people. That's sort of the top 1% of gamers, and that's just not what I represent on this channel. So to start off here, we are going with this bundle, and this is something that we have here in South Africa as well that I like from Evetech, and that's these bundle deals where you get your motherboard, you get your CPU, you get your RAM, and because you combine them, you get a good price. Now this is of course Cyber Monday today, and so we are looking at some good prices here. We are saving $100 with this sale. Now $95, but basically 100, and we are looking at $330 for a 9600X, which is of course a Ryzen 5 chip, and this is from the most recent series of Ryzen chips, the Granite Ridge, and this is a 6-core chip, but it's one that is, in terms of gaming, it's going to be up there because it is only 6 cores, but it's one of the newest chips available in terms of just getting a good 2K sort of gaming experience. And I think that's what this PC would be used for, is 2K gaming at high refresh rate, or even 4K gaming at sort of mid-range FPS numbers. And of course this comes with an AMD B650 platform motherboard. I don't know if you get this motherboard specifically. It seems like you do the B650M from Prime, Asus Prime, and I've not seen this one yet. The Prime range of motherboards has been going for a little bit now. It's not too bad. It's sort of budget-ish, but it's good budget, if that makes sense. This has a NVMe slot. It seems to have built-in Wi-Fi, and it has a whole bunch of PCI Express slots. It also does come with 4 DIMM slots, and it does have 8-pin CPU power, and so in that way it does support overclocking. This is of course a DDR5 motherboard and supports 6000 megahertz RAM, and that is the RAM that we get here with this G-Skill Flare RAM. So all around, these are some good components, and it looks nice as well. It's sort of relatively premium looking. All of this, we are gonna then use a inland NVMe drive. Now I chose this one to save a bit of money, but you do save a lot. You save $92, which is actually a big amount to save on storage, and this is a Gen 4 drive. As far as I know, this is Microcenter's brand, so it's a little bit cheaper to manufacture, and so a little bit cheaper to sell. And this is obviously Gen 4, and so the speeds are going to be quite good, 5,000 reading and 4,000 writing. So not too much to say on this, but for $60 you're getting a 1 terabyte drive that will be quite fast. So moving on to the power supply, I have gone with this PowerSpec power supply. PowerSpec is sort of like a mid-range power supply supplier, and this is a 750 watt 80 plus unit, 80 plus bronze. It is of course ATX, and it is semi-modular. So what that means is you get your motherboard power straight from the unit, well, you get all of it straight from the unit, but what I mean is you can choose to plug in extra power cables. So for instance, the PCIe there, which goes to the graphics card, you can choose to plug that in. Now on the premium units, you get another PCIe, maybe a few more SATA powers and that kind of stuff. But for this computer, this one is fine. This is 750 watts and the power delivery is solid. It's a good power supply, not too much to complain about, but also not too much to say on it. It's just a good unit, and it's relatively cheap, coming in at $70, saving $15. For the graphics card, and this is of course the big one when you're talking about a gaming computer, I've gone with the Power Color RX 7800 XT, and this is the Hellhound version. Now, this is where gamers have a lot of choice, because if you want to go NVIDIA, to match this card, you're going to have to go for something like between a 3080, 4070 Ti, around that sort of spec is going to be similar to this. But I feel like for $450, this is quite a good price, and you do save $50. And, you know, this thing is going to do well in 2K and 4K. It's going to absolutely destroy 1K. It's not really worth it to even play at 1K on this, because it's overkill. You can build a slower PC than this to play on 1K with. I think the time for that has passed. So this is PCIe 4. It has 16 gigs of VRAM, so that's quite a lot. I mean, the best cards now have up to big amounts. I think, I'm not sure what the biggest amount now is, maybe 28 gigs, 32 gigs. But this is a good amount of VRAM. It does have a 256-bit bus, and you know, it's a good looking card as well, which is something I care about, but you know, to most people that probably doesn't matter. It does have this sort of blue lighting, which is a little bit restrictive. I'm not sure if you can change that, but regardless of that, it's a good looking card. It's a powerful card, and for your sort of 2K gaming, it's going to be perfect. It'll also be good at 4K gaming at around 60 to 100 frames. And overall, it's just a fantastic card. Hellhound makes really good cards, and to me, this looks amazing as well. To top this all off, we're going to be putting it inside a Gumdias Talos. Now, again, this is the sort of thing where you can choose what you like. It can be any range of manufacturers, or you know, different sizes, different materials, but at the end of the day, it's just down to what you like. And I recently got a comment about how buying a case is sort of silly because you have to ship it, and I do agree with that. I think buying a case locally makes more sense. I'm just adding them to these videos to sort of show the sort of thing that you can get. For $60, this isn't a bad price, but there's going to be a lot of cases around this sort of price point. So you just have to shop around. I like the way this looks, and this is the sort of thing you can expect. Maybe vertically mounting that card in this would look really nice, setting these fans to that blue color. And, you know, at the end of the day, it's all down to what you want to do. Maybe you want to save a little bit of money here, buy a $40 case, but at the end of the day, it's just down to what you want to do. And what I mean is, this one's $50, this one's $65, this is also a really good case, $50, $90, $65. So they are mostly around that price point. So it's just down to what you like, what you want to do, and maybe you just want to get a case that you can't even see. You just put it under your desk. Maybe you want to get something like this that's a bit more flashy. Maybe you want to get a fish tank style case. Those are really popular now. It's all down to what you want to do. Just make sure that it does actually have enough space and is the right form factor. So that's going to be the PC, graphics card being the most important thing. You could go with NVIDIA, but you're going to have to add another at least $100 to get this sort of performance from an NVIDIA system, unfortunately. But there are other benefits to it, of course, with the upscaling and the encoders. But apart from that, I think just for gaming, this is a good system. And let's check out, hypothetically, how it would do. Let's do it. So the only thing that I could find that is representative of the card and CPU that I chose is this one that shows both the 7800 XT and the 9600X, which is the setup that we chose. But it also shows the 6800 XT, which is a previous generation, and the 7600X 3D, which is a previous generation, but it's of course a 3D chip, so it's a little bit better in that way. And it's interesting to see it like this anyway, so go and check out the game R1 or the game Roan. I'm not sure, but go and check that out. Thanks for providing the video. And this is running, and this is of course the game. What's it called? The Last of Us Part 1. Ultra graphics, 1440p, so 2K Ultra. On our system here, we get an average FPS of 85 and a minimum of 63. So that's really good. That's really solid. And we are talking one of the most demanding games. I'm not sure why I changed. Let's just finish up with this. And then on the older system, which is just the previous gen, and this is interesting because you can still get these pods for a little bit cheaper. It's very close. There's only a 2 FPS difference on the average and a 3 difference on the minimum. So it's very close. It makes you think whether it's even worth it to upgrade in this instance. So then moving on to Horizon Forbidden West, we have again the 7800 XT, the 9600X. We get 120 average, and this is ultra graphics 1440p. So these games are tested 1440p at ultra graphics, which is what I would recommend playing these games at for a system like this. And on the older system, the directly older system, 115 and 93. And I must say, the difference in sort of FPS that you get is not really worth the upgrade, so far at least, when you're looking at these numbers. Moving on to Assassin's Creed Mirage. The 7800 XT, the system that we are looking at, and the 9600X, 114 average, ultra settings 4040p, 90 minimum. And again, these numbers are just so close. 112 on the older system average and 86 minimum. And so if you do have a system like this, then I would say don't make that jump to the current generation because it's not really worth it. Maybe wait for another generation or two. Spider-Man Remastered, we are looking at, on the system we are currently building, why is it taking so long? We are looking at 108 average, and this is again at Ultra, 1440p, 108 average, 84 minimum. Now, the interesting thing is, when we look at building $500 PCs, we can reach 60, 70, 80 even average on 4K. For these kinds of games at high settings, not even ultra settings. But when you do double that and you build a $1,000 system, you're not going to get twice the performance, but you definitely get better performance. I mean, 108 average on Spider-Man Remastered at 1440p at ultra. So it's going to look fantastic, and it obviously runs really well. Let's take a look at one or two more. Warzone is a big one. This is Warzone 2. And in Warzone 2, we are looking at 160 average on 2K Ultra. Now that is really good. 135 minimum. So it's going to feel really smooth as well. On the older system, 154 and 129 for the minimum. So even on the older system, it's more than good enough, the 6800 XT and the 7600 XT. There's really no need to upgrade to the current generation when you're looking at these numbers. Far Cry 6, a game that I love to play, 127 average, 101 minimum. This is honestly a little bit worse than I expected, but it's still really good. And this proves that even in these AAA games that are really demanding, you get close to high refresh rate gaming on 2K. So this is the big one, of course, for these more modern systems, Cyberpunk, and this is it's just base Cyberpunk, and we look at 105 average on Cyberpunk at Ultra on 1440p. So that's a really good result for a $1,000 system. I mean, this system, I think I forgot to actually say the price. I'll talk about it more at the end, but the system was only $970, so it's not even $1,000, and the minimum is 81, so it's very smooth. But again, the older system is very close to that. Let's take a look at one last one. We've already done Warzone, so I think let's do God of War. That's an interesting one. So God of War, ultra settings, 1440p, our system that we are looking at, 106 average and a minimum of 83. And that's one thing as well, is all of these games are very consistent with their frame rates. And so far nothing's gone below 100 average on Ultra Graphics 1440p. So it's a very impressive system, and it's something that, let me talk a little bit about the pricing. So $970 is what this system comes out to. Now, of course, that's including these deals with the Cyber Monday deals just coming off of Black Friday. And it's not always going to be that price, you know, I mean, there are going to be other deals, so it just depends on when you catch it. But coming in at under $1,000, this system is fantastic. I mean, you can play any game, and even The Last of Us, even the most graphically intensive games at above 100 FPS average on 2K at ultra graphics. And it's just going to be such a smooth, such a fantastic performance with any game that you throw at it. Now, the NVIDIA counterpart will do the same, but it is going to be more expensive. You'll have to spend about $100 more to get the NVIDIA counterpart to this performance. So, in my opinion, this makes more sense. This is the sort of system I would build if I was building a system for $1,000 now. And if I were to do an upgrade, this is probably what I would get, because that is the sort of budget that I shop around when I build new systems. Around $1,000, and so this would probably be the PC that I buy. I would need to get the 8-core CPU, so I would probably get the 9700X. But apart from that, and 32 gigs of RAM. But apart from that, this is the sort of modern average gamer system, if I can put it that way, for people that spend around $1,000 on specials. This system is going to be becoming a little bit cheaper in the coming years, and I think in about a year or two you would be able to get this system at around $700, and at that point there will be a lot stronger stuff out. But I do think that in terms of price to performance, this is a very good setup, and this is a PC that will last you a while. I can't see games getting that much more demanding in the next couple of years, and this system will be able to handle them quite well. So let me know what you think. Do you agree? Is this a good system to buy, a good system to build? What do you think of Microcenter? It seems like they have really good deals. Thanks for watching, and I hope to see you in the next one.